Welcome back to the Product Operations Summit. Before we get going with the next session, we'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors for helping us bring this event to your screens. And don't forget, you can access even more content from exclusive articles and interviews to all past and future events on demand, as well as templates and frameworks by becoming a PLA member. Head on over to productledalliance.com for more info. Enjoy the next session.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Product Summit. We really hope you've enjoyed all the action-led presentations and insights so far. It's been an amazing day so far, but we've got another awesome session up for you right now on Product Ops Full Throttle, Architecting the Big Picture Machine. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Kayla, who is Product Operations Manager at Octane. But before we kick things off, please do remember to drop any questions you have into the chat, and we will get to those as well, of course. But yeah, have fun, and I'll hand off to Kayla.
All right, thank you, Adam. So let me pull up my slides here. Let's see. Boom. Oh, I apologize. 1 second. Thanks, Caitlin. Good to see you. Oh no, I apologize, guys. I have a quick technical difficulty. Adam, do you mind if I drop for like one in?
That's okay. No worries at all.
Sorry, 1 second.
No worries. It gives me the perfect chance to plug. We have a new Product Ops survey out at the moment. So we're doing our State of Product Ops report, kind of getting the lay of the land. And obviously, it's a perfect chance to ask you guys how things are going on. So I'll drop a quick link to that in the chat as well. At the end of the session, and of course you'll be able to join the kind of Product Ops Slack community that we've got going on as well. I'll drop some links to that in the chat shortly also. But yeah, shameless plugs all around. Let's have a look here. I can just drop in a sticky. How are you getting on, Caleb?
Okay, sorry guys, I apologize for that. Thought I had everything good, and then something popped up. Okay.
All good?
I think so.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. We see the screen okay? Sorry, can't see the chat. Okay, awesome. All right, so I'll go ahead and get started. Adam, feel free to interrupt me if anything technical occurs. But welcome. Happy Thursday. I'm Kayla. I work with Octane. I am a product ops manager still at the moment. And I am presenting today on Product Ops Full Throttle, so architecting the big picture machine. Before we begin, I kind of want to go over a couple of notes on today's goals and a note. So the goal of this presentation is hopefully to spark ideas as a fellow architect or mechanic being in product ops. The hope is that this presentation will help generate excitement or ideas for what you can do in your role. Another goal is to drive confidence for you guys who are fellow product ops pioneers. There are a lot of product ops folks who are trudging into new territory for their company. We've learned over time that we have already faced many of the battles that you guys are currently running into. And ideally, this presentation helps promote confidence within your role. And then a last note, our story has been for a company that was growing at scale. So want to just throw in a note that what worked for us may not work for everyone. Every company is different, and our team was focused on a product team that was learning to work with as one. So before we kind of get into the details of the big picture machine, I thought it would be helpful to kind of go over our path so you know where we're coming from and what our perspective was. So here's our path as the product powerhouse, which goes from 2020 to 2022. In the beginning, and sorry, let me back up a moment. So for me, as I was coming into product ops, I was on our support team and I was helping the product team pretty often, which was very cool. And it became to a point where it was like, okay, Kayla, you have these various skills that you can bring to the table. We want you on the team. It's just we're not really sure what your role would be. Maybe we could do some research to figure that out. And after having some conversations, we stumbled onto product ops, and it's like, oh, this is perfect. And again, for our company, as we scaled, we were bringing various brands together under one umbrella to become one large company. And so as I presented this option of product ops, it's like, well, let's do one even better and make a product ops team. And so we created our first team with 3 folks involved. One who was from support, which is myself, one who is a former product manager, and then one who is a former technical project manager. And so our focus in the beginning was really on product communication, product tools, product performance, and being a product subject matter expert. That last part was really important because for us to be this powerhouse, even in the beginning, it was just really handy because, again, as we were coming together as a company with all these brands, some PMs got moved around to focus on a new area, some were new hires, and so it was really useful for us to come in and be able to provide those insights on our historical data for each company, or details just on the product itself. So we became very useful. From there, we added on, well, we lost a team member, and then we got a few more team members added on, and we continued to focus on communication, tools, efficiency, performance, product processes, which is very near and dear to my heart, and then continuing to be subject matter experts. From there, we lost another team member, and so we ended up being a team of 4. And then we found that we had a lot of value in product communication at this time. We continued helping with product tools, continued on efficiency. We started really hitting hard on product performance, which introduced more of the product processes. And then we even had product data. Product data, I think, is one thing in the product ops community that's kind of here and there. But the reason why this fell naturally into our team is because just like the rest of the company was merging teams, our data team also merged, which means they came from different brands that they were supporting. So maybe they were familiar with one brand, but they weren't familiar with another. So when our PMs would ask for data, there was kind of details that were lost in translation. And some of our team members already had these skills to kind of help grab the data that we needed. And so this naturally fell into our plate, especially as we were handling product tools and looking at efficiency and analytics. From here, we gained one more team member who is another former product manager. So at this point, we had 2 former product managers, 3 former support people. And the next item that kind of fell into our plate, which is probably not something that product ops teams usually take on, but another thing was just product research. And this was because our design team was kind of here and there on their team and had a lot of things going on there. So we jumped in to help out so that our product managers weren't blocked from doing the research that they wanted. And we figured out, if I as a PM want to go do product research, what are my avenues? How do I go about this? So the documentation on how to do that, who to talk to, what are your resources, and how to do that research. And towards the end, we ended up as a team of 3 in our final form, and we were really this powerhouse, this machine that handled all of these different components of product ops, and we were really great at it. Some of these processes became automated over time. Some of them were new things that we were still working on or implementing. But this was our general timeline and how we formed where we are today. And along the way, from my perspective, I wanted to know more about product, especially as somebody who was new. So I went to various product conferences virtually, met the PLA community, which is really awesome, met the product ops community within PLA, and have met some really awesome people, a lot who are presenting today. So hello to all of those folks.
Hi, Kelly. Can you hear me? Can everyone else hear me? Is the audio working for me? Sorry to interrupt mid-flow. Okay. Everyone can hear me. How strange. Kayla, are you mute? Can you hear me, Kayla? That's so strange. I think maybe the audio. Are you muted, maybe? Or is it something else? Sorry, everyone. Technical difficulties sometimes come up. What I said, maybe try and if you leave the room, Kayla, and re-enter, the classic turn it off and on again, it might work. I mean, I could try and sing a song. I don't think you'd like my singing voice. We'll see if re-entering figure stuff out. But again, I will very quickly plug our survey again. I'm just plugging this all the time because get some more feedback. Tell a joke. God. Still nothing? Oh, that's so strange. Everything is all right, Fabrice. How are you? Of course, yeah, these things happen. It's unfortunately sometimes a symptom of a live event with tech. It's so strange though, because we could hear you fine. Don't know why it cut out for 1 second. Yeah, perhaps try a restart, a total restart. Could be a good shout there. I'll also plug the PLA Slack community, guys, so we can continue the conversation. It requires no audio there. You can just type. People are joining. We've got like over 5,000 plus members now. And the product ops lot are always a great bunch, of course. Plenty of actionable insights in there. My favorite sandwich, it's got to be a BLT. To be honest, Josh. Oh, great.
Oh, okay, good. I was like, I talked and nothing happened.
Fantastic. Awesome. Okay, I will disappear. Everyone's probably sick of me by now. But thanks, guys, and I'll let you carry on.
Okay, cool. Can somebody drop in the chat where, if you remember where I last left off, where the sound went off? If anybody happens to remember, let's see. Okay, I'm just going to pick back up off on, sorry, let me get my screen back. Dropped off towards the end of the timeline. Cool. Thank you, guys. Okay, window, boom. All right, we're back, I think. Yep, we're back. Okay, cool. So we reach our final form. Boom, 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 boom. Great. Oh, okay, cool. So along the way, as I was going through this whole experience, I was reaching out to other people in the product community, in product ops, in PLA. It was really cool. And what we kind of learned, myself and my boss, Christian McLean, who is also talking later and will be really awesome, we kind of learned that we had already faced a lot of the battles that other people were facing in their own product ops role. And it kind of led to this idea that like one day I really want to share all the insights and all the things that we've learned as a product team or as a product ops team, because other folks are dealing with the same stuff. So here we are today. As I was thinking about how I could go about this, it naturally came up on LinkedIn that Product Plan had this state of product management report, which is really awesome. And I will share these slides so you guys will also be able to download the report. But an important question in there, or a very cool question to me, was what is your product ops person or team responsible for? And this was like the light bulb of the different components that kind of make a product ops team. So what we landed on is that, or what the responses were, is that one, improve comms between product and stakeholders. So that's managing communication with internal teams to ensure that product work is communicated, evangelized, and understood. highlight on the evangelized and understood, because that was really useful and brought a lot of value to our team. Another category is increasing the efficiency of the product team. So monitoring in an unbiased fashion, because data doesn't lie, the velocity of the product. So how often are we releasing new products and features? What is the rate of tech debt associated with these releases that can cause us to stop net new work because we then have to turn around and take care of it? And what does our internal sentiment look like, which is a different kind of measurement, but very important. Because if we're doing all these things as a product team, but we're not aligned with our internal teams, then, Conway's Law, however, our internal processes were kind of conveyed to the other side of the process. And so we figured that if we're not communicating and if we don't have like good sentiment levels with our teams, then that can go to our users. And we don't want that. We want to have positivity and alignment throughout. And another component is enabling our teams with product education. So kind of keeping them informed on ongoing product trends, performance of our competition, or what our other internal product teams are working on. To be fair, we didn't dip our toes into this one as much, but we did a little bit of this. And then owning and managing the product development tech stack. So what are the tools that we're using? Are they serving the needs of our teams? And ensuring that we're not causing friction in our product workflows. Owning and managing product analytics. So kind of related to that tech stack, but a deeper level is figuring out how are we calculating adoption? How are we measuring feature usage? How do we know that we're successful for the things that we're working on? And then creating customer feedback loops. So ensuring that we have that customer feedback in our tool belt and are evangelizing our improvements back to our users and our teams. So what does that mean for architecturing the big machine? So I have this wonderful handy doodle that is the product machine itself that we will run through. So every product team sets off to work on something, and that is their vision, right? Whether it's from our execs or feedback or industry trends, whatever, we have something that we know we want to work on and that we want to set our sights on. So we have this vision, right? Then we go through this process of discovery and define to understand what's the job to be done, how should this work, what should it look like, or going through what this new feature or product is. But then we partner with design to figure out what does it look like, what is the actual user experience, and making it happen. Once that's done, we create a prototype, which is kind of filtering into our big rocket for launch. So in that prototype, we build it, we test it with users, we make sure that it's a feature that people want, that it's built the right way. And then when we're ready, we finally launch it into the wider or broader market and to production. And once that is launched, we get our results. So what is working? What's not working? What did we miss? What did we get wrong? And we take those results and we iterate and go back into this discovery and define phase, design, build, test, and repeat up until we feel like this product, this feature, whatever it may be, is good to go and we're comfortable and it's in a good place. So that is our product machine, but there is an even bigger picture machine where our little products person can come in and either re-architect the whole thing or take different pieces of the machine and replace it with something new. And that's where we come in. So taking those categories from that survey, feedback loops, those can help, again, create a vision for your business. Or as you iterate, there's a qualitative results that come back through those feedback loops. So if you're not really sure what happened with the launch and what the needs still are, then you can look at those feedback loops to understand, or the feedback faucets to understand what still needs to be implemented and how we could make it right. So feedback loops, it impacts our vision, it impacts the way that we go through discovery and defining a feature or product, and then it can also impact our design. The other side of it is when we launch, so having product communications, making sure that our teams are aware of all the things that are going on. I think I've talked to quite a bit of people that have mentioned that their teams also continuously release, which is really great. However, if you're on the other side of that and you're supporting a product and you don't know what's happening and you have to be the one to talk to users, it can be unsettling to not know what's going on. So making sure that we're communicating and evangelizing all the work that we're doing on product, which is always really awesome. And then owning and managing product analytics. So how do we get those results after launch? How do we, again, measure feature adoption, feature usage, and all of those great things? What's the tool that we use for that, et cetera? And then if you take a step back and look at the big picture machine for what it is, that's where you can start to measure the efficiency of products. So again, how are we doing in the quality of our releases? Are we meeting our deadlines? Is there friction? Like if we say we're going to release something at this date, but there's friction points somewhere in the machine that's slowing us down, how can product ops go in and help alleviate that friction and make it smoother? And then this also goes with enabling teams with product education. So again, if we have new product managers and they're not really sure or don't really know much about the product, like the industry that we're in, then helping feed that insight of how our product works, what are our users like, what are our resources, and just making sure that they are educated so that they can move through the machine efficiently. And then again, taking a different step back, the product tech stack. So what is the tool that we use for our documentation? What's the tool that we use for our ticketing system? What's the tool that we use for analytics and all that good stuff? So managing that tech stack makes sense in product ops because, again, we see the whole picture run. We are identifying the efficiencies or inefficiencies, and we can easily swap those out for something better if needed. So with that said, architecting in practice, how did that actually work for us? Here's some examples. So improving comms between product and stakeholders. One thing that we took ownership was was a biweekly meeting to showcase what we're thinking about, what we're working on, what to expect soon. And by we, that means product. And for context, like this little meeting was something that started with 20 people when we first started, and it was literally just myself and a couple of other people saying, here are our releases, here's what we did. Does anybody have any questions? But just making sure that they understood what was going on. And over time, again, from this 20 to 2022 period, it again started out as that small group with just our support people. And over time, it expanded to include more product managers and to include more detail. And by the outcome was that we had more attendees and people saw more value in it. And the last one that we had, I believe last Friday, we had about 100 people attending. We had engineering pop in for a hello. We had every part of our product team represented, and it was just really, really awesome to see what it's become, right? And it's about to face a new chapter soon. So providing that value, bringing it forward is really awesome. And then our internal release notes, we own and make sure they're of quality, and then general documentation to make sure that people can self-serve on the information they're looking for. Creating customer feedback loops. So for us in product ops, it's understanding how that tool is being used, who owns that, how are we filtering it, how do we self-serve to find the trends that we need, and then if we're not the ones creating those trends, how do we teach the owner of that tool to find the trends and communicate what's currently in flight so that they know what's important and what's not important, and we can communicate to our customers that maybe this is something we're not going to work on at the moment, or something we're not looking into just now, instead of letting that feedback forum grow and become uncontrollable. And then figuring out the process that product will use to consume these details and attach it to their work, and then ensuring that there is an actual full loop in that feedback cycle, that the various avenues of feedback are updated and informed so that our customers know that we heard you, we're listening, we implemented this thing because you brought it up. Internal teams and that product education. So again, just sharing industry practices within like e-commerce for us, coordinating what our internal teams are working on. So again, we have that biweekly meeting to showcase what we're doing as a product team. But at one point we did it reverse to say, okay, sales, support, everybody, what are you working on, and how can we marry those internal efforts together so we're working as a collective business? And then sharing general product practices like North Star metrics was one that we recently brought up and kind of discussed and looked to implement. So yeah, just keeping them educated on the happenings. Again, tech stack, analytics tools, research tools, documentation, ticketing. It makes sense for us to go in there and to learn how it works and to understand the different mechanisms of it. That way we can set it up for our product managers and listen to their needs, and again, take that off their plate so they're not having to figure that out, and lessen that friction. And then product analytics, just since we know the tools and we have the time to learn the data, ensuring that if our PMs need that information, that we can go and grab that easily. And if we don't have it, we know our resources to implement the data that they do need. And then also, creating dashboards, coordinating analytic needs, and just making sure that's available, right? Because measuring is very important. And then lastly, increasing the efficiency of the product team. So again, measuring things like time to deliver, or, do we meet our delivery date? If we don't, maybe that indicates friction, where product ops can help alleviate some of that pain. Applying processes that allow for work to communicate itself versus our teams, poking at PMs all the time. And then just reviewing our processes and the machinery overall to make sure that there are no bottlenecks, and that our PMs aren't having to go out and search for the details they need to do their work. So now I'm running on time here, so I'm going to try and run through this really quickly. The value of product ops. What this meant for us is that we had this end-to-end view of the business, and we knew that our piece of our machine was a part of an even larger machine, which was the entire business. And we were a crucial piece of the puzzle that directly impacted the way that the rest of our teams worked. So from this perspective, we were able to figure out, how do we connect our machine with another team's machine so that we are actually working holistically as a business and not kind of in these individual silos. And that was really great. That made us natural bridge builders and natural campaigners of product within the org to evangelize all the great work that was occurring. So we built partnerships with our internal teams that we really didn't have before. And then this also gave us an interesting partnership with our executive teams, because we saw it from the same holistic view that they saw it. And so we were able to kind of jump in and help a little bit more versus, the executive perspective of trying to push teams to do certain things. We can actually go in and take action to help make sure that things are moving along, and just be that helping hand. And again, measuring value brings value. So measure. Everyone has opinions, and often, sometimes they're correct, right? There's indicators that lead them to have that opinion. But we got to make it facts for it to matter. So we have to have the data to prove that we're either on track or we need improvement. So by implementing these various avenues of measurement, we help the business reach harmony. And then lastly, by building this efficiency and by building these bridges and by doing all of these things, we ultimately build trust. And so, product doesn't work in the shadows. And so we try to show our measurement of work and are able to clearly showcase that, these are the things that we're doing. This is our performance level. And if we have opinions that come up, we can at least showcase, here's where we're at, and kind of reach alignment throughout, reach some zen. And by reaching this, or by repeating this over and over again, we're able to build trust that, product as a team can do what they need to do, and product ops as a partner in making sure that we're all efficient as a business is useful, and that we are there to be that unbiased perspective and provide the facts, or, telling the news. And so we're always ready to jump in and help teams if needed, and can do that successfully. So that was a lot of talking. I hope that was helpful. I believe there are quite a bit of questions. Adam, I'll let you take over.
No worries, Kayla. Thank you so much for that. Technical difficulty aside, that was a really terrific presentation, and I'm so glad we got you back in, because it was so worth it. So yeah, fantastic. Really awesome. Yeah, we do have actually time for some Q&A. So please drop any questions you have into the chat. I did see one earlier here. Let's have a look from Sharon. And she's asking, how did you get to that list of what to focus on at each stage of your growth?
So in the beginning, we had so as we started those meetings with our internal teams, we started a survey to say, what are your confidence levels basically? So how are we measuring our success as a team? And so those focused on the different areas that product works on. So our communication, like fixing the right bugs, working on the right things, but wording that in a better way. And so if we could see that those confidence levels were low, then it's like, okay, that needs attention. And so those trends that came from that survey kind of showed us which direction to go into. And then on the other side, always staying aligned with product to understand what are the needs that you guys have on your end. And so it became this natural, like, again, powerhouse within product ops to kind of attack all those needs and make sure that we're working harmoniously.
Fantastic. Another one fired in as well. How do you strike the balance between big picture thinking and focusing on the details?
Yeah, so that's a good question. On our team, we have product ops managers and product ops analysts. So the way that my director would describe it is that we're kind of like a T. And so the product analysts feed into the product managers, and they kind of bring us or help us work on the details and the nitty gritty items. And then a product manager kind of pulls it together collectively because we're seeing all the things going on. And I mean, sometimes some of our product ops managers had areas of focus. So it's not like it was me doing the design research processes on my own, efficiency and analytics on my own. It was just that we had our lanes of focus, and there were obviously times where we overlapped with each other and just worked together.
Nice. And another one here regarding product comms. Where would you say is the line between product marketing and product operations?
Yeah, that's an interesting one and something that we bumped into a lot. So for us, we didn't have a very large product marketing team. And in the beginning, they didn't work like our current product marketing team does, which is probably the more traditional route. So a lot of this was probably us taking on some of those tasks, but we were really focused on our internal teams and that communication and that alignment, not necessarily how we're communicating to our customers.
Nice, makes sense. And this next question here, is your team directly responsible for pulling metrics data and building out data dashboards, or is it more of a partnership with teams like data and analytics?
Yeah, exactly. More of a partnership. I think what I see often, and when I talk to people who are more in the data realm, data can be focused on the entire business, right? And again, from our perspective, we had some of the data team members who were previously on another brand. So if one of our PMs was asking for data on a specific brand, maybe the data person wasn't really sure what they meant or what they were asking for, or maybe the data that they were used to working with is just so different that when product actually got their data back, it wasn't necessarily exactly what we were looking for, or maybe we were leaving out some criteria that was important to make it specific to what we're focusing on. And so a lot of things just got lost in translation, right? And so it made more sense for product ops to be kind of the middleman in that, to either grab the data that we need or partner with the data team to say, hey, these are the things that we still need, or even, teach them about what we're grabbing and how that makes for more alignment.
Great, thank you. Another question here from Diana. Who are the stakeholders involved in the bi-weekly meetings to showcase what product ops is working on?
Yeah, so that was really cool. We started out with support because, again, that was our biggest friction point, and that's where I came from, so it was natural. Then we included our sales team, and as we had these teams talking about it and their leadership talking about it, that kind of got up to other avenues. And so engineering would come in. I mean, it's kind of a free-for-all, right? Like, if you want to join, you can join. So to this day, we have engineering, sales, support, marketing, product marketing, product design. Like, whoever wants to join, you're able to do so.
Nice. And another question here as well. We're not measuring anything yet. What would you recommend we measure to demonstrate value?
That is a tough one because it's very dependent on where you're at as a company. I feel like one of the things that So again, for example, that survey helped us kind of know which direction we should go in. And so at the time, we kind of had some feedback that it seems like our bugs, our quality needs focused, right? And so it's like, cool, all these people think that, but is that actually true? And so that's how we started looking at what is the measurement of like how many issues are we creating each week compared to resolving? How are these aligned to the way that we're releasing? What does that release process look like? How often are we releasing? How are we keeping up with that, communicating that within our ticketing system? So measuring like the usage of the statuses in that ticketing system. And it's just like continuing to go down the rabbit hole until, every piece of that process and that machinery is functioning well. So I don't really have any great insight into what specifically every team should be looking for, but I think quality is probably a good start to make sure that you're building the right things and you're doing so efficiently.
Yeah, definitely. Great answer, thank you. And we've got another one here from Ben. What data do you rely on to measure product efficiency? For example, time to deliver. Is it benchmarked against an expected time to deliver set at the start of a sprint cycle?
That's another tough one because I think we are all kind of trying to find our footing. We went from being like a startup and moving fast and doing all these things, and as we all came under this umbrella and became like a business, we had to kind of wrangle all of those processes that we were going off of before, and trying to reach some consistency. So yeah, some of it is looking at, okay, if we are projecting that we're going to finish this thing in 6 months, are we actually going to make it? How do we get there? And I already forgot the question. Sorry, I had a point to that. That was Ben's question.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So just seeing like, are we actually make that? If we say that we're going to add 150 like connections to our platform at some point, are we actually doing that? Are we on track for that? If we're not on track, then how do we, improve that? What can we do to get us there? And then if we don't meet that, then how can we plan for that better in the future? Because on the other side of this, our internal teams are relying on us for these updates and for the work that we're going to do. So if we're going to say that we're going to do something, we should probably do our best to actually make that happen or be more realistic about what we can actually do.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, we've still got time for just a few more here. We've got one from Cassie as well, who's asking, what's the typical agenda of the bi-weekly meetings to showcase what product ops is working on? I found that what's relevant to ENG is different from what's relevant to sales. How do you keep the meetings relevant to all?
Yeah, so I think we look at it as, it is more catered to our user-facing teams who, again, are supporting our users. And so our agenda is typically, welcome. Here's our bi-weekly meeting. Here's the intention of this meeting in case you're new and you've never been here before. Here are our presenters for the day. And then we go through each presenter's team, essentially. So, okay, product ops, you're up. And then pass that off to this product team A, product team B, product team C. And then they do this handoff throughout the whole meeting. And it's only a 30-minute meeting, so we get through it pretty quickly. And then at the very end, after all the teams have kind of gone over what they're working on, what they're thinking about, what's about to be released soon, then at the end, we leave time for a Q&A. That way, if there's something like this is your chance, teams, to say what's on your mind or to ask questions to clarify. And so, you should do that.
Nice. And we've got one more here as well from Thomas. How often do you send out surveys? Are they systematically identical, or do you adjust the survey depending on what you're working on?
Yeah, definitely. So we do it on a quarterly basis. We keep the questions the same. That way we can actually measure if we're in the right direction, if we're going backwards. Again, we use this like confidence scale to say how confident are you that the product team is, working on the right things or fixing bugs or whatever. And so it's a scale of 1 to 5, and we can see over time, okay, if we started at 2.5 in 2020 and now we're at 4.7 in 2022, that's great. But if we start to, in the later part of 2022, go back to like a 4 or 3.8 or something like that, then it's like something that we're doing is not great and we need to improve that. And then if there are certain like one-off questions of something that we're working on currently, we can throw it in, but we try not to make that a habit because we want to keep it consistent for the teams that are actually filling out the survey.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Kayla. We've come to the end of time. Time flies. There you go when you're having fun. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for that presentation. Lots of love in the chat as well. To echo Kevin's sentiments, very inspiring as well. So it's very much appreciated. Again, glad we got you back. It was really worth it. Yeah, thanks for joining us today, Kayla.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you guys for everyone for joining. Oh, thank you, Adam. There's my LinkedIn. You're definitely welcome to reach out. Glad that there is some inspiration here because that was what I was hoping for. So thank you guys.
No worries. And thank you to all of you for attending. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye, y'all.